this is Shanna Ross with Shanna Ross Fitness in Houston, Texas, and today we're going to be talking vegetables. You know, when I do nutritional consults, of course, one of the first things I tell people is if you can really eliminate a lot of the starchy carbs that you're eating, like simple things like white rice, pasta, and get away from crackers, chips, all those very, very processed things, and then put more lean meats and wonderful tasty vegetables into your diet, you're going to see fat start to drop off of your body as long as you're doing adequate exercise. And one of the first things they say is, oh, I just don't like that many vegetables. You know, you just steamed vegetables. That sounds so boring. Well, yeah, steamed vegetables do sound boring. There's a lot you can do with them, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. The first thing I want to do is simply show you a very quick, easy way to roast vegetables. It makes them very, very tasty. You can keep them in the fridge for leftovers. You can chop them up and put them in eggs in the morning for your breakfast. There are just lots of things that you can do with them. So what we're going to roast today, and keep in mind you can roast any vegetable, so it's whatever you prefer. But what we're going to do today is we're going to do these great, wonderful, beautiful peppers. I have a red one and a yellow one. Really any color is fine. It's just these are going to be really pretty. I have some beautiful tomatoes here. And again, this produce is organic. Less pesticides, less chemicals going into our bodies. So whenever you can, buy organic. Try to find a local farmer's market. That's one of your best sources. We're also going to do some onion, and I wish you could smell this. It is so fragrant and fresh. It smells really, really wonderful. And then some Kalamata olives, just to give it some added flavor. And I'm going to chop up some sage, some rosemary, and some thyme. And you notice that these are fresh. They aren't dried, although dried is fine. If you don't want to bother with buying fresh herbs and chopping them up, then just buy a really good dried brand. Of course, I always recommend Penzi spices. It won't be quite as flavorful, but you will still get a wonderful taste from it. And then we're going to season them with just a little bit of sea salt. And that's it. Drizzle a little olive oil over and we're ready to go. We're going to use some parchment paper. Now, one thing I love about using parchment paper is it makes cleanup a snap. It makes it really, really easy. You just simply tear it off, line your pan with it, make sure that you get it completely covered, and you're ready to go. When the vegetables come off, all you do, wad it up, toss it. The way we do this, we just simply put some of the sea salt, sprinkle it over the parchment paper, put a little bit of salt, drizzle some olive oil, put the vegetables on there, pop them in the oven for a little while, and in about 10 minutes, beautiful, fragrant, tasty vegetables. The other thing we're going to be doing after that, asparagus. It is a wonderfully nutritious vegetable. We're going to prepare it lightly steamed. I know, there you go. I probably just lost you. Lightly steamed, but we're going to season it really well after that and make a very simple dressing out of some olive oil, some balsamic vinaigrette, a little bit of cheese to drizzle over them. Now we're just going to do very simple roasted vegetables. The only time this takes is just a little bit of prep time. I am using fresh herbs because I'm going to eat this later and I have time to do it since I'm cooking for you guys. But remember, time is of the essence. So if you don't have a lot of it, you can really make this a lot quicker by choosing herbs of your liking. I have an Italian herb mix here. I have some herbes de Provence. If you like other things, you can use those dry. Does it affect the flavor that much? Not really. It's just that fresh gives it a little bit more of a punch. So I'm going to use that. I chose some sage. It's not an herb that people use real frequently, but I think if you had more time to prepare this recipe and you wanted to try it yourself, I think you would really find that it gives the vegetables a wonderful fresh flavor. So there, you just chop it up roughly. I have some thyme here. Thyme is very small anyway, so I'm just going to put a little rough cut on it, not a lot. And then some rosemary. Again, just very quickly go through, chop it up. You don't want it in tiny, tiny pieces because it really makes the vegetables look pretty as well as taste great if you can see the herbs in there. Now I'm just mixing them all up, giving them a final chop. And you're going to need a large bowl just to dump everything in. So what we're going to end up doing is putting some olive oil in. All right, I have some beautiful organic tomatoes. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Just going to take the top off, and I'm going to slice them pretty thick. You don't want them to break down into mush when you roast them. So if you keep them a good thickness, that's going to be fine. The end, I'm simply going to cut in half. As you cut them up, throw them in. All right, the other things we're going to put in. If you've never had roasted, freshly roasted onions, they are wonderful. They take on a sweetness once you've roasted them that's just out of this world. So I took, excuse me, one red onion. As you see, I cut it up pretty thickly. We're just going to break it apart as we put it in. Now, if you don't like a lot of onion, don't put the whole thing in. Remember, cooking is all about what you like. Following a very basic structure and changing it to suit your tastes. No fear in the kitchen. Isn't that pretty? And the aroma from the combination that we have going on here with the herbs is wonderful. So let's give it a little bit of a punch with some Kalamata olives. I simply bought some that were already pitted because I didn't want to take the time to do that, and then chopped them up. If you don't want to chop them up, you can buy them pre-chopped. It gets really, really easy. So let's move that out of the way, and then look at these peppers. Aren't they beautiful? Just cut the top off. You're going to take the inside out, get all the seeds out. Come in. You want to keep them, no, I don't know, cut them up 6, 8 pieces, something like that. You want them to stay pretty chunky and not fall apart. Now this white part, you just want to come in, take that out because it's going to look much, much prettier if that's not in there. Not a lot of cleanup. That's about it. Okay, let's bring our bowl over. Olive oil, wonderful, healthy, omega-3 fats. If you want to measure, okay, a couple of tablespoons maybe. I'm just going to drizzle some over because all you want to do is coat the vegetables just enough that they roast evenly. Get in there with your hands. Have fun and get dirty in the kitchen. Now you see the herbs really starting to coat the veggies as I toss them. Ah, it smells wonderful. Now, rather than come back and sprinkle salt over this, let me show you what I'm going to do. I have some sea salt here. just going to reach in, pull a little out, and sprinkle it over the parchment paper. And then the veggies go over the salt. And it's just going to pick up a hint of that salty flavor. Don't have to worry about getting too much sodium on them from too much of the salt. Just get that lovely hint. And what happens in that process is you keep that wonderful fresh flavor of the vegetables, not overpowering them from the salt. That's how quick and easy it is. Let's go put it in the oven. All right, so the oven is preheated to 400 degrees. I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes and then take a look at them after 10 minutes. If they're looking good, smelling good, but still I can see that they're going to be a little crunchy, then it's done. We don't want them to be wilted and soggy. All right, check you back in 10. If they taste as good as they smell, we're in luck. Ah, yes. Beautiful roasted vegetables. Stir them around a little because remember our sea salt is on the parchment paper. Lovely. Back into the bowl that we chopped everything up in. Now, of course, these are wonderful hot, but they're also great cold. If you eat them cold, it tastes really good if you take them out. Just drizzle a little bit of balsamic vinegar over them perhaps, and it gives them a completely different flavor. And as I mentioned, you can eat them as a side dish to any protein, either for lunch or for dinner, or they are wonderful if you chop them up, put them in some eggs, and scramble them all together to get your vegetables in early in the morning. So there you have it, wonderful vegetables. If you also look on YouTube, you're going to see a recipe for some roasted pork. You'll also see a salmon recipe, and those would be beautiful sides to these two vegetables. Protein, veggies, limit your starchy processed carbs. Those are three really, really quick ways that you can start seeing better results from your exercise program. Thanks a bunch. I had a great time today. Go make this stuff. It's really good. Bye. Let's see. How about an onion? Hot. Yeah. Crunchy. Good stuff.